Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yo, what up, what up? It's your boy Rubino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
All right, man. Yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You're tuned into the UpNUp Podcast. I'm your host, Rubino.
And I'm DJ man.
What's going on, boss?
Man, I'm chilling.
You chilling?
Yeah,
Feeling
man.
good?
Yeah. We got a good guest in the building right now.
Yeah, man. I just want to say, if this is your first time tuning in, this is the UpNUp Podcast. This is the podcast where we're focused on cultivating culture, right?
Yep.
We do that through providing amazing stories of individuals, groups, movements, right? People
Yes,
out here
sir.
who just carving lanes, paving paths.
Yep.
You feel me? For those who need it. I like the ad-libbing today.
Yeah,
You
man.
come up with some
on,
energy
man.
today, bro.
We with it right now.
Yeah, man. Also, for those of you consistent supporters, consistent viewers, we want to shout you guys out. Thank you for the encouragement, all the support. You know what I mean? It's amazing to see the type of shift that's happening in this region and then just in general with the culture. So we're appreciative to be a part of that, as well as bring you guys along with that journey. Now, if you want to continue following the podcast, you know what to do. You can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Just type in the UpNUp Podcast, and that's where you can find it. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe.
You know, like it too, man.
And like it too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to get mad if you don't like it. Just go ahead and hit that button, man. Also, please make sure to follow us on all social media platforms @ the UpNUp to stay tapped in. A lot of amazing things for 2019 on the way. Also, UpNUpClothing.com is live, so go ahead and get fresh and stay on the UpNUp in style.
Yeah.
Right? You can follow us @ UpNUpClothing or visit UpNUpClothing.com. And
Tell them what else
I'm going to keep telling them, man. So we're also doing a free ticket giveaway. Enter to draw for a free ticket giveaway to go see who?
Nas.
Not just Nas.
Legend.
AZ.
And AZ and Lupe.
Fiasco. Yes, man. That's August 17th at the ShoWare Center. So make sure to go ahead and tap in. If you had made a purchase between May 13th and July 31st, you will be entered for a drawing to win tickets to go see the GOATs, man.
Yes, sir.
Right? Is that it? You got any announcements? You good?
Man, that's it, man.
You good?
Come on, let's get into this.
Let's get to it. All right, man. Well, if you're a first-time listener, this is how it goes, man. We bring compelling stories up here, amazing guests who are going to drive inspiration, motivation, all that good stuff, right? Today's guest, I would say, is a man who's nothing less than a true champion in every sense of the word, right?
Yeah.
I would say he's a leader and a demonstrator who's keeping everything he's doing on the up and up.
Okay.
Right, obviously, he wouldn't be in the building with us if that wasn't the case. To give you a little rundown on some of the work he's been able to do in his time here, he's a Super Bowl champion, NFL Pro Bowler, and former defensive end of our Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
But along with that, I would say his championship pedigree also transcends all fields and arenas. Through the countless philanthropic work he does through his Cliff Avril Family Foundation.
Yes, sir.
Doing amazing things, uplifting things around the world. I mean, someone who needs no introduction, but, to set the record straight, you got to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel me? Let's just get straight to it, man. Our guest is none other than the man they call the Haitian Creation.
Yes, sir.
And culture cultivator himself, Cliff Avril. Can we get a round of applause, man?
Appreciate y'all having me, man.
Yeah, man. Welcome, man.
Finally,
right? We've been trying to lock this in. Thank you for coming, man.
My pleasure, man. I like what y'all doing, man. I like the movement. I like the name first and foremost. The up and up. You know what I mean? Just inspiring and all that good stuff. So no, I'm happy to be here, man.
Yes, sir, man.
Thank you,
now, this is how we kind of start the show off. We usually start it off with the quote of the day. Something kind of just get the vibe right, get the mood right. My man over here, he's a wordsmith. So go ahead, man.
I got you guys. All right. So the quote of the day today is: "Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, and then greatness will come."
Yes, sir. I agree. That's a heck of a quote.
Who said that?
The Rock. Dwayne Johnson.
Sound about right.
Yeah, you have to say it like that too. The Rock.
The Rock.
Got to.
That's a dope quote. You want to run it back for the people in the back?
For sure. So success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, and greatness will come.
I love that. Now, we bring in the quotes for a lot of reasons. Obviously, they're great, powerful words, but also we bring in stuff that'll tie into our guests, right? And kind of their story and their journey. So for you, and what we do here is we provide context, man, right? Like there's so many people winning out here, successful, but it's important for people to see the context that leads up to that, right?
How they got there.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So for you, let's take it back a little bit, man. Where did you grow up? You grew up in Florida, right?
Yeah, man. I'm from a little town right outside of Jacksonville, Florida. I just typically say Jacksonville, Florida, but it's on the west side of Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Florida. Our population ain't that high, but I come from a small town. But not only that, though, I come from a Haitian background too, so I'm battling the American culture and the Haitian culture all in one, coming through the ranks or whatever. So it was an interesting dynamic, you know what I mean, coming up out that way.
Yeah,
so it's been fun.
So kind of what type of things that you witnessed and experienced in your environment kind of shaped your outlook? Obviously being, Haitian and then as well as being American as well. But what are some things you noticed that kind of shaped the way you kind of saw things moving forward?
Man, as you get older, you start looking back and you start realizing like, dang, even like something as small as race, right? So, for example, back at home growing up, like I used to get in fights all the time with all their homies now, I guess, but or people, they homies now that I done got this far, but people just growing up, like I used to get in fights for being Haitian, right? And I'm talking about with like other African Americans or whatever, is like as if we were different, as if they look at us different, you know what I'm saying? And you Haitian, this, that, and the third, and it just goes back to like people just make fun of and don't agree with things they just don't understand, right?
I agree.
And as I got older, I started realizing that because it's the same thing with like white people. You know what I mean? It's the same concept. So, it was just an interesting dynamic. Each day I've been jumped before, and then all my cousins had to come back and kind of handle business for me or whatever. But like, it was just a constant battle of always trying to prove myself as if I'm supposed to be here. Yeah. It's like, well, we both in the projects right now.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So like why are we fighting each other?
That's facts too.
You know
I think a lot of immigrants, like first generation immigrants, can relate for sure. I know I can. You know what I mean?
Me too, for sure, bro.
Where y'all folks from?
Eritrea.
Eritrea, okay. That's where Nip, right?
We got Somalia, you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Ethiopia,
Okay. So it's just Africa in general. We just
much,
out
yeah,
here.
we out here.
Yeah.
So what were some of like your early experiences and like interests? Like outside of football, probably too.
Honestly, bro, I didn't start fooling with football till high school. Like I'm a late bloomer. I didn't start till 10th grade. You know what I mean? So for me, early on, I'm my mom's only child. So she and being a Haitian mom, she's not going for that. Like all that football, like nah, that's for them Americans.
Hit
you
them
need
books.
that's for them Americans. You need to be a lawyer, a doctor, like you need to be trying to do something like that. You know what I mean? And so growing up, although that was her mindset, like I like hooping. I like basketball was my thing. Like coming through the years or whatever. And so that was what I kind of did, and then around the neighborhood just doing a little bit of everything really, but just trying to figure it out because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you really are into as a little kid, but it's just exploring and just what you're exposed to is kind of what you kind of lean towards.
That's real.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I wasn't exposed to too much early on, but. You kind of figure it out.
Yeah, and it's really just exploring. I think as a kid, I used to tell my younger siblings all the time from my own experience, like, yo, get involved. Yeah. Get involved. Just figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I know for a fact, I wish I did when I was younger.
For sure. I believe exposure is key on everything, right? Because you just don't know what you don't know, right? You know what I mean? And then, unfortunately, most times your family members don't know that either, so they can't really expose you to anything.
Yeah.
So, like for me, for example, like I got this mentoring program that I do out here where that's the sole purpose of it. It ain't about playing football, it ain't about playing no sports. It's about exposure to what's actually out there available for you.
That's
right.
Yeah.
That's especially being in Seattle. I mean, we get stuck in our own bubble, you know what I mean? Especially us with the way the system's set up or whatever. Yeah. But, exposing kids and showing that, all you see black folks, black men really or black people on TV is all entertainers. And for me, fortunately enough, I'm able to play ball, but I think that's sad because the probability of you actually becoming an athlete, a rapper, a singer, whatever that entertainment piece is damn near impossible. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the odds are stacked up against you. So for me, it's like I'm gonna take you to the football facility, but I'm gonna go show you what all is available there.
There's other jobs out there.
Man, it's especially at the Seahawks VMAC facility. I've said this numerous times. It's like if you go in there, every single occupation you could want to be is in that building, from something as small as being a janitor to a doctor to a chef to a lawyer.
Wow.
Like whatever you want to be is all in that building because they need all that to make that run. So so I want to expose kids to that part of it. It's like, no, you want to be around football, you don't necessarily have to be the football player.
That's real.
You can be the GM. You can be the architect that helped build this facility. You can be, I mean, it's just so many different things that's available to you. But kids don't know that. They don't see
exposure. Exposure to information is key, man.
Huge.
Now, so you say you didn't start playing until 10th grade, right?
Yeah.
So for you, when was that moment when you really were like, all right, this is a tangible goal? Like, I think, because I know football's big in Florida, right?
Oh, huge,
yeah, so,
huge.
So what for you, when was it that moment when it was like, yo, I think this is it. I think I could do it.
Honestly, bro, like I was one of those people like just keep grinding. Like don't like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, right? So for me, 10th grade, I was really just on the team. I was a bum. I ain't gonna front. Like I was just out there trying to figure this thing out. Yeah. You know, the reason I hoop, I went into high school. I was already 6'2". Like going into high school.
Wow.
Damn.
So I'm thinking like, man, I'm gonna be 6'7", 6'8". You know what I'm saying? Like, boom. Never. I grew an inch since then.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just like, all right, you know, just try this football thing out. One of my coaches, I almost quit football after my 10th grade year because I'm like, man, this is too hard. You know, basketball players, not to knock, and I got a lot of basketball friends, but they just not as tough as football players.
The toll, the wear and tear on your body isn't the same.
It ain't the same, right? Yeah. So I'm like, man, nah, like I might give this up. One of my coaches pulled me aside, like, look, man, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, just, you know, have fun with this. So I continue to keep playing, and when I realized, like, dang, all you got to do is just throw your body into people. You know what I'm saying? You young, you're not processing the effects of it. But you're like, oh, all I got to do is throw my body into people. So I started understanding the game a little more. So then my junior year, I came in, balled out, like just figured it all out. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to be the best in the county. I want to be the best in the county. And if I'm the best in the county, that means I'm probably one of the top players in the state.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's real.
Mm-hmm. So I just kept chopping away. And that's always been my motto. Like, it's never really been the big picture. I've always kind of took it from a small level outlook, right? Mm-hmm. So in high school, I just wanted to be the best in the county. So that probably put me one of the best in the state. In college, same concept. Like, I just wanted to be the best in the Big Ten. If I'm one of the best in the Big Ten, I'm probably one of the best in the country.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Same thing when I got to the league. I just want to be one of the best in the NFC West, NFC North. And that was the case. Oh, you're one of the best in the NFC West. You're probably one of the best. You're probably top 5 in the league.
That's real.
And that's kind of how I've always kind of motivated myself. Instead of putting it on a grand scale, just take it down a little, break it down a little bit more. Hey, if you one of the best in your area, you're probably one of the best in your state, your county, your town, whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? So that's always been my outlook in sports.
That's a very powerful message too, just in terms of how you should go after anything, not just sports. You know, like break it down. Actually, it's crazy.
Because you paint too big of a picture, then you don't know where to start.
Yeah, and you can be too consumed with what's ahead, and it may not even pan out that way.
That's
so you
real.
That's
real.
Yeah,
like
real.
People get overwhelmed by that.
No,
Like,
it's easy to. It's easy to. I mean, that goes in any industry, any business. You know, if you looking at the finish line, well, you don't know what the journey gonna be like. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta just look at the starting point and then kind of grow from there. And that's always kind of been my way of looking at things.
No, I love that. I love that mindset. I like that mentality.
Yeah, like there's like an analogy I used before. It's like you trying to get to the top of a mountain. You can't just keep looking at the top. You're gonna be like, oh man,
you gonna
fall. Like, I gotta go right there. There's a little cut right there. And I can end up there, and I'm about to be halfway.
Strategy, man.
Yeah, you gotta strategize it.
Exactly.
Everybody, and then that's the thing too, especially with athletes, is like everybody looks at the finished product. Nobody looks at the grind. Nobody looks at what it took to get there.
That's what matters, man. I love
the grind. Is what makes that's what makes you appreciate getting to the top.
Listen, man, like. I'm gonna mention Kobe. Don't worry. I'm a Kobe fan. I hate when I
mention
Ain't
nothing wrong with Kobe.
Right?
Yeah.
No. So when Spike Lee did Doing Work with Kobe, that documentary, and it was like you thought it was gonna be like a full feature movie or something, but it was just the most like mundane, just follow every single move, and it was like, man, it was intriguing to see like what goes into his success, right?
For sure.
Not just the pump dunks and all that shit. Like I wanted to know how you got there. You know what I mean?
Man,
it's important, man.
No, it's important to understand like the grind, because again, everybody looks at Bill Gates, for example, because he's one of the wealthiest people in the world. Like everybody just like, man, Bill Gates is worth $100 billion, and I want to do that. Well, do you know what Bill Gates had to do? Like, although it's in a different arena, a different sector of the world as far as for what he got to, like the just being Microsoft and all that stuff. Like, there's a grind behind that, though,
facts.
right? Trying to figure out how all this stuff works. Like, it wasn't given to him. I don't care how you slice and dice it. It wasn't given to him.
He earned that.
He had to earn that.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's giving out $100 billion.
And keep earning.
It's a nonstop thing. Yeah. So people just always look at the finished product. Jay-Z, finished product. Like, no, like, this man been doing this for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's why I always say, and you mentioned Nipsey earlier, but like that's one thing I really took to what he was pushing was demonstration.
I loved it.
Demonstration is everything, man. How you move, how you demonstrate.
I can go on about Nipsey. Like, just his, like, it's so impactful on so many different levels. Yeah. Like, successful people are looking at Nipsey like, man, I like where this kid is going. I like this grind. I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just understanding it, I think is some of the dopest stuff ever, man. But just respecting the grind and respecting, like, don't look at the finished product. Yeah. Don't look at LeBron's finished product. Look at the grind.
I'm looking at how you demonstrate.
Yeah.
That's what matters to
Show me how you do it. Yeah. No, I agree. That's the way, man.
That's facts. Now let's get into
we jumped around a little bit everywhere. I don't know if I answered your question or not.
You did. This is how we do it, man. We're dropping gems, man. It's cool. Now Detroit, right? So we get to Detroit. And I want to ask you this question because coming in as a rookie, I mean, obviously you have tons of experience now at this point. But looking back, what are some things you wish someone would have told you to kind of make that transition a lot smoother when you first came into the league? You could think of
just the business side of it, right? Like, people see the NFL, they love it. Oh yeah, the NFL is probably one of the most cutthroat jobs in America, and you know what I mean. Like, you could literally be here, sign on the contract, and be gone literally the same day or tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, so one thing I just wish is just understanding the business piece of it. But I also don't regret the way my career went either, like just learning how I learned it. Yeah. Because I probably would have, who knows? It could have went a different direction. Who knows, right? But just understanding the business for what it is and learning early on that since it's a business, you can't take what these people tell you personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the first thing I tell all my young boys, all my rookies, second-year players. The first thing I'm like, listen, fellas, it's hard to comprehend right now because y'all not really necessarily dealing with contracts and whatever. But, like, man, if you understand that this is a business, you'll never be surprised at how they treat you, how they go about their business, right? You know what I mean? And that was the one thing I wish I would have learned a little earlier on. But fortunately, I learned right before it was time for me to do business with them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the one thing is like, man, this is a real live business. I mean, it's a $13 billion business.
Yeah, when you say it like that, you
know what I'm saying? $13 billion, like it's one of the biggest empires in America. Like, these people don't care. You're just another number to them. Exactly. And once you understand that, when the coaches is hyping you up, but then turn around and tell you they need to cut you, like, you'll understand like what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's more so what it is for me is just wishing I knew and understood how much of a business it was.
That's real.
No, I feel you, but I feel you're right though, because it was kind of important for you to go through those growing pains.
No question, right? No question. But the problem is most people will take it so personal that it doesn't allow them to actually grow as a business person, or more so like as an athlete. Because now you on the football field, like, man, these coaches don't fool with me. You know, you spazzing out, you mad because this whole time you thought they actually liked you. No, it's what can you do for me right now? You see what I'm saying? So so when you get to that point, you realize like, man, I'm doing this for me, not y'all. You'd be in a better place.
That's real.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's real.
Well, so what's the transition like when, because obviously you spent some time in Detroit and then you came to the Seahawks. So, like, how, like, I don't know, because I don't know how it really impacts a certain player when they got to, like, think about, like, moving from a different city to
it's hard, bro.
Another city, you know what I mean?
And I was fortunate. I only had to move twice, right? Yeah. I mean, college to Detroit, Purdue to Detroit, Detroit to the Seahawks. It's hard, especially when you got a family. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So when I moved from when I was going through the whole free agency process of trying to figure out where I'm gonna go, and this is the crazy part, people don't even realize this whole thing. So free agency is like, oh, such and such is signed for this amount of money, such and such is signed for this amount of money, but you gotta realize there's 53 players on the team. Yeah. So it's only really 5 guys that make really good money. Exactly. Right? And so at the time, you know, they just came out of a lockout. The NFL just came out of a lockout or whatever. And I'm watching TV. You know, I got an agent. I'm watching TV, and I'm like, okay, I'm the top free agent that's coming into free agency this year. So I'm like, shoot, I'm about to hit the mother load. Like, I'm about to cash out on that one. Yeah, I'm about to cash out. I'm about to get this bag, right? free agency rolls around and like I'm hitting my agent. I'm like, yo, what's the word? Like how many people we got running? Like how many people want your boy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. We only got about 2 teams calling right now. Like everybody think you're too expensive.
Wow.
Like what y'all mean too expensive? Y'all got the money. I just heard what the cap. Yeah, like what you mean too expensive? He's like, yeah, nah. Like the deals aren't really that good. So I'm like, okay, like man, what the hell going on? And then again, I got kids. I got my kid. I had my wife at the time. No, we were engaged at the time. And I'm like, man, like what's the next move? Like nobody. I don't care where you're at in your life. Nobody likes uncertainty. Like nobody is comfortable not knowing where the heck where you're gonna be at the following year or whatever. Like nobody likes. So like at this point now I'm stressing. I'm stressed out. Like man, like this ain't the experience. This ain't what I seen on TV. Like this ain't that everybody geeked up. Yeah,
let's do it. All right.
Yeah, let's.
Exactly.
Hey man, count it up, run it. Like, run me mine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I need all that. Give me that. And nobody's calling. So at this point I'm like, man, you know, now I'm actually focused on the best place for me to go, not necessarily chasing the money.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Now I'm looking at, okay, so, you know, here's Seahawks is in, you know, they want to fly you out. Hey, you know, whatever. I'm like, shoot, the Seahawks, they defense, Sherman, those guys was just on the come up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, shoot, with them guys on the back end, I can get more sacks with just those guys. I can get at least 2 or 3 more sacks just based off of that. So that was really the main reason why I came here was because of LOB at the time.
Wow.
And just understand, not even understanding where they're heading, but more so like selfishly. Like I need to go somewhere where I know I can thrive to get that deal, to get that bag, right?
That's real.
So that was kind of how I played it. But the transition piece was hard because now you go from, you know, myself and Mike B, both number 1 and number 2 top free agents that year. Yeah. And you go, one, they signed both of us. So we're like, oh, shoot, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? But dang, we both play the same position. And then they got Chris Clemens at the time, too. So for us, all right, so we both are starters, you know what I mean? Been starting our whole career. And then now we get to Seattle and we're like, wait up. Who the heck gonna start? And then as a player, this is something most people don't realize. Like the money is cool, like it's great. But how you really get to a player is by playing time, and starting, and like it's an ego thing at that point, right? So now I'm like, wait up, I didn't come here to sit the bench. Like I'm not like no, like I don't work too hard to become a starter in the NFL, right? Yeah. But then, and Mike B's thinking the same exact thing, like, bro, I didn't come here to ride the pine. Like I don't know what, like y'all lied to us. Like we both ready to leave. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we struggled with that for like the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season, like just an ego thing. And then both of us looked at each other in the eyes like, man, look, man, forget that. Like, let's just go out here and ball out. And then as we turned it on, and then it was a Super Bowl right then and there. Like
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But like our ego initially would not allow us to like play at a high level because we was really mad about not starting or not playing as much as we're used to. Yeah. In our reality, like that was the biggest blessing for us. That is what allowed, I think personally, me to play another 4 or 5 years because I just wasn't playing as much as I was in the wear and tear.
That's real.
But that was the hard part of the transition. And then again, moving the family to the other coast. You know what I mean? I've never lived on the West Coast. I've never, like, this is my first time living out. Now I live out here full time, which is crazy. Yeah. But moving the kids, trying to find schools, trying to get your wife right, trying to find house.
So it's a lot.
It's just a lot on your plate,
on top of knowing that I got to perform well, too.
On top of performing, or I might not be, like, all this move that I just did, I might be out of here next year. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting you say that. So I'm glad you brought up kind of you and Mike B's kind of early struggles in terms of trying to assert yourself in your positions, right? Now, all of us in here, obviously, we're all Seahawks fans, right? We all kind of follow the movement as fans. And what you guys were able to do in terms of building a culture and identity was something that the Seahawks, in my opinion, didn't necessarily have, right, up until that point. But did you guys know, like, because you went from the Lions, I kind of use it as like going from, like, West Philly to, like, Bel Air type
For
analogy.
sure. No question.
Like, but did you guys know you were building that identity and that culture as it was happening?
No. So I was just with Sherm and some of the guys last night, actually. You know, we all catch up with each other. We try to catch up with each other at least a couple times a week, or a couple times a month, should I say, dinner, lunch, whatever it might be. And we all just sitting at the table, and that's the one question I always ask. Like after about 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, fellas, like, 5-6 years ago, did you guys realize like what we were doing? Like, nah, man, we were just all having fun. Like, and it has to just happen organic. Like, you cannot plan things like that. Like, it just has to be a natural thing that happens organically. And that's just what it was. It just like, cause you think about it, man. So many different personalities on that team.
Yeah,
you got Sherm, who before I came here, I tell him this all the time. Like, before I signed here, bro, like, I thought you just need to shut this. You just need to shut the hell up. Like, this little boy just talk way too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and then so you had Sherm, then you had Marshawn, who perception shows him to be a certain way, completely opposite. Like, one of the best people you'll ever meet.
Facts.
Then you got Mike B, who's just, you know what I mean, just another loudmouth. But like, me and him, our dynamic, like, is my best friend. Like, our dynamic is so interesting because I'm complete opposite of him as far as for like how vocal he is about things. But then what I realize in the greatness of our relationship is, like, I've kind of tamed him and made him process things a little bit more as he's made me come out of my shell a little bit more. So in a friendship, in a relationship, like, that's what you want. You want people that's going to make you better in different ways of your life. And that's what our friendship was all about. So just all these different dynamics, all these different folks and attitudes and all these different things, yet we all understood one thing, and we all respected each other. And that's what allowed us to be great on the football field. Like, honestly, we're definitely top 2 best defenses ever in the NFL.
I'm gonna say this before the show. I actually saw this on Twitter. USA Today Sports ranked the Seattle Seahawks 2013 team the number 1 NFL team of the decade.
Oh, well, I'll take that.
I'll
take that.
there we go.
Google that. Google that.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
But like, to have had, but not only that though, like, people think of the 13 year.
Yeah.
Dog, we had a run for 4 or even 5 years where we're the number 1 or number 2 defense in the league.
Facts.
Yeah.
The hardest thing to do in the NFL is be that consistent.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's facts.
the Ravens, they had I want to say like a 2-year run, like best defense at the time ever.
Yeah.
To do it for 4 years, bro, like, unreal, right?
Yeah.
But again, it boils down to everybody respected each other. No matter disagreements, whatever, like, we respected the grind that other person brought. And I think that's what allowed us to excel.
It could tell. We could tell.
I think at the same time, just from watching you guys, I mean, I ain't never seen nothing like it. And I was just like, damn, it's dope. This is the Seahawks doing this, you know? And it was like, you said respect, but it seemed like you guys trusted each other.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you trusted that person to be at their spot. You know their abilities, so it's kind of like.
The trust factor is huge. And again, another thing me and Sherm talk about all the time, like, you wouldn't think a relationship, a defensive end and a cornerback, like, you wouldn't think their relationship really mattered as much. But Sherm understood his success was dictated off of my success, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
If I'm getting after that quarterback gonna throw that ball. He gonna throw something up there lazy, and he gonna pick it off, and vice versa. Like, he ain't got nowhere to throw it. Guess who's on his behind? I'm on his tail, right?
Exactly.
So we had so much respect and trust for each other. It's times like I'll look at Sherm, and he already know what I'm thinking. And he already knows, like, oh, it's pass. I know this, that, and the third. Oh, let me look at the formation. I know what routes I'm about to get, and vice versa, right? So it was just the respect. It was the trust that we all had for each other, and it was just, again, all organically done.
No, that's real, and I think it's crazy. We were talking about this before the show, how a lot of people don't understand how important your situation, by situation I mean the organization you play for, factors into your success. You can be the dopest player in the world, but if you're in a situation where you're not allowed to show that on a larger scale and contend, it's a problem. So, like, you being in Detroit and then coming to Seattle and being able to showcase your skills. You had the skills already before you got to Seattle, obviously. I think that's important. I think a lot of fans need to
1,000%. And shouts out to Coach Carroll. Everybody might not necessarily agree with what I'm about to say, but I think Coach Carroll did and does such a great job from the standpoint of, so the NFL, football in general, is such a militant mindset, right? Coaches, they feel like they got to yell at you, they got to holler at you, they got to, you got to be a certain way. You know, this is the only way you're going to be successful. And Coach Carroll takes a different approach. It's like, nah, I need y'all to be relaxed, enjoying the game. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is, a game. Right? So Coach Carroll was okay with guys being loudmouths as long as you're behind, go out there and perform. Coach Carroll was good with, dealing with attitudes and whatnot as long as you go out there and perform. You know what I'm saying? So being free, in a sense, being okay to be yourself when everybody else in the NFL is like, super stern and strict as if like you're a child. Like, I'm a grown man.
That's what made y'all stand out, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a grown. I got 2 kids. I don't need you to I don't need we'll square up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's chill out now. Like, that's for high school kids. That's for but like but that's how the league is ran. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thought process. But Coach Carroll, he has a different process where it's like, no, like, y'all are adults. You do your thing. But when you cross these lines, just know, like, I need you to ball out.
That's what's expected.
And he understood that the more relaxed you are, the more fun you having, and it allows you to just go out there and be great.
Yeah, that's real, man. And I think I love that team so much because I felt like you guys were like the people's team, man. Like you said, you guys really stood out, right, amongst the whole league. Like,
for sure.
Call it stern, you guys were hip, you guys were cool, you guys were fresh. It was a refreshing feel. Even if Sherman's calling out Crabtree, like that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that.
It gave us our personality too, right? As a team, as a defense, really.
There's a balance.
You know what I mean? You got Sherm doing what he does. Then Earl doesn't say much, but then you got Cam smacking people. Yeah. You got Mike B talking trash.
And then you got Russell Wilson, just like
and Russell's exactly. But all these different personalities again. When it come down to Sundays, you knew what you was getting.
It's business.
You about to get this work. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
And it was great times, man. We had really, really good times, man. And it shows how good we were and how nice we were because everybody still hangs out with each other. Everybody still kick. Like, that's not a normal thing in the NFL. Yeah. Usually you play football with the guys and then then you leave. You go about your business. Off season, everybody go about their business. You're really just coworkers. What we had, like, man, hey, y'all trying to take a trip somewhere, bro? Let's take the family somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to hang out. Like, we wanted to hang out, and it showed on the football field.
That's so important, man.
Yeah, it really did, though. What was that, man? What was that feeling like, though, when you got the ring?
You know what? For me, it was different, probably from everybody else from this standpoint, right? Them boys, like, that Seahawks is all they knew. Right, most of those guys are homegrown. The only 2 people on that team that wasn't homegrown was me and Mike B. Everybody else was drafted to the Seahawks.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So when we came in, me personally, like as a rookie, I went 0-16. I didn't win 1 game as a rookie.
Yeah.
Right. So you go from 0-16. And then in the NFL, you go 0-16. Most times, the next coach coming in, he's trying to get rid of everybody. He don't care who you are. Like, I'm not trying to be associated with no losers.
You was a part of that.
You know what I'm saying? So I go through that whole spew and go 0-16. And the next year, we only went 2 games. And then the following year, I think we won 6 games or something like that. So when I get to the Super Bowl, I'm like, bruh, like, I was the only player up until last year. I was the only player ever in NFL history to go 0-16 and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So like, I appreciated it way more than any of them guys did because they was used to winning. True. I wasn't used to winning. You know what I'm saying. I wasn't used to playoff runs. I wasn't used to. So for me, it was like, dang, you done made it to the Super Bowl, bro. Yeah. Like 5 years ago, like you didn't know if you was gonna be in the league.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So to be able to do that in my first year here in Seattle and like not only just make it to the Super Bowl, but like played a role in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't just riding the wave. Like I was out there getting it.
You actually hold the record for the quickest,
fastest score in Super Bowl history.
Yeah. Shout out Peyton Manning.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you, Peyton. Appreciate you. But you know what I'm saying? So like that's why I think I appreciate. I don't say that. I can't say they don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
They probably appreciate it more now that everybody separated and kind of in different systems and trying to learn how to win. Mm-hmm. Like I appreciate it because of how everything started for me and then getting to that point.
Man, it's important. That's important, man. Now, I was also curious because there's a lot of personalities, like you said. Mm-hmm. Who's that one like glue guy that no one would ever expect was the glue guy?
Glue? Man, I think everybody kept everybody accountable though.
Okay.
You know, the one guy like again, I'm going to go back to Mike B, and I'll probably bring his name up a few times, but like going back to Mike B, like people seem to have had issues with his beliefs and different things that he did or whatever. But Mike B, Marshawn, and Sherm actually were probably some of the best teammates from the standpoint of like, so like for example, like Mike B and Marshawn, they didn't practice much. So people, you know, they think they're better, you know, whatever. Yeah. But like Mike B was the type of person, honestly, like he might not practice, but as soon as you come out from the locker room in your meeting room, he'll probably have like a full-fledged meal catered from John Howie's or something crazy. Like that's the type of person he was. It's just he always like even though he might not practice, he gonna make sure like everybody else is taken care of. So you know what I'm saying, or something like that, or like Marshawn, he's the type of person like, bruh, like man, that's a tough behind Louis Scully or something, whatever it might be, and he'd be like, you want it, like hand it to you. You know what I'm saying? Like just, but like those type of small little acts like go a long way.
No one knows about him. No one sees it.
Yeah, nobody sees that, but it goes a long way for the camaraderie of your team,
That's
though.
Facts.
You know
That's
what I'm saying? Like I'm the type of person like one of the rookies hit me up like, hey, bro, you know it's 11 o'clock at night. Hey, bro, like man, you know. Whatever the case might be, like you know what, I got you. I'll send a car for you or whatever. Like we just had each other's back. You know what I'm saying? And nobody hated on each other like that. That's really, real. Like everybody respected the grind. Everybody respected each other.
That's real. And that's how you win.
That's how. No, that's that. I think that's the, and that's what I learned is if you really want to win in any league or any like that's why college is so entertaining because they keep their players together for a long period of time for 4 years, but they're all having fun. They're all understanding like. I don't know if they necessarily understand or respect the grind per se, but they all understand and have that like that relationship with each other. And the NFL is just so hard to do because of free agency and so many different movements.
Yeah.
Seattle got spoiled, honestly. Seattle got spoiled because they were able to keep a core group of guys.
Yeah.
I want to say probably like 15 of us, maybe even less.
Yeah.
But name brand guys for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
That's
in
what
the
I
NFL.
tell people. I'm like, yo, like you gotta, like you said, a lot of them were drafted.
Yeah.
So just think about that. So it's like, and I started realizing, like as a fan, I think fans have to mature as well. Like
for sure.
Players mature, but fans got to mature. Because like I was like, man, what's up? Why is everybody? And I'm like, actually, okay, these guys are getting older.
Yeah.
Some of them starting families.
Yeah.
Some of them got to make other decisions for themselves. You know. And so I think it was great. But again, the culture and identity is something that's cemented forever. Like you think of the Patriots, you think of San Antonio Spurs, like. I don't care what year it is. You know what the business is when you walk in those buildings, you know? So y'all definitely paved that way, and that's important.
No, I agree.
So what, like, impact does, like, injuries have on a player's, like, life? Because, you know, we just see, like, whatever. Oh, this player, oh, damn, he's injured. Can't start him on my fantasy team. You know, that's, like, how we think.
That's why I have a problem with fantasy ball, to be honest with you, because fantasy takes the human element out of it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we were saying this off air earlier about me being in the media world and, like, just understanding how people view athletes now. It's because they dehumanize them and just you're just a number, right?
Yeah.
So somebody will get hurt and be like, oh, move on, next man up. You know, mantra. It was like, no, but if that's your little brother, if that's your pops or that's whoever, like you, no, you have to live through that. Like this man just broke his leg. You know what I'm saying? But like fantasy football, all these different things kind of takes you away from that piece. And like now it's like, all right, move on to the next person. Who else I want to draft? You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question as far as for injuries, I mean, it takes a toll on you. But I think also, you know, that whole mantra, you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
Early up coming through the ranks and different things like that, like, you know, seeing stars when you bang and like that stuff was like hyped up. Like, yo, I just bodied him. I'm starting to see stars. Like now it's like, nah, you concussed. You know what I'm saying? Like, So now you like, nah, I don't want to see stars. Like, so it's that process. So now that guys are understanding what the game is doing to them, they're playing the game in a different way. Like, I can attest to that from my career. Yeah. I ended up getting a concussion my 4th year in the league. And I told myself, I promise, like, if I ever get another one of these, I'm gonna retire. Like, it's not worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't necessarily the case because I ended up getting one in the second Super Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But I say that to say I changed up the way I played, though, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, all that banging and like, nah, I just want to get your quarter. That's why I got so good at the sack fumble. Like, I didn't have to hit you to get a sack fumble. All I had to do was hit your elbow. I knew the ball was coming out, right?
Yeah.
So, look, like, you just adjust your game accordingly. Yeah. And I think guys are doing that. I mean, there's still some thumpers out there. There's still some guys out
sure.
But, you know, again, you know better, you do better. So you start to process these things and start thinking about the future a little bit.
That's real. I think you got to change your game up. I mean, you see players in the NBA do it all the time as they get older.
For sure.
Like, you know, so it's definitely important. That's a good question, though. Now, obviously, post-football is a transition in itself, I would assume.
It's hard.
Did you kind of plant seeds early on during your career to kind of prepare you for that? Or because back to Kobe. Kobe had he obviously his first year out of retirement, this guy goes and wins an Oscar.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And does his thing, right? But it was crazy. I heard a story about back in this is like Froby, like when he had the fro, like he'd be on the bus, like learning how to write scripts and learning how to do these type of things.
That's dope.
And he's probably one of the best players in the league doing that, already thinking, So did you kind of plant seeds for this post football?
I did, but I don't think most guys. So our game is different from this standpoint. Like Kobe, you can probably get away with that because you got a $100 million guarantee.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So you're not I don't want to say you're not tripping on being great, but you're not stressed out about keeping your job.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? In the NFL, it's completely different, where all it takes is one game and you might be out of the league. You know what I'm saying? One game you hurt, your career might be over with. So it's a little different from that standpoint. But I will say, off seasons and different things like for me, for example, like I took advantage of some of the different things the NFL provides, like the broadcast boot camps, like the financial courses, all these different boot camps that they provide during the off season. Like I would take it, but most guys don't take them, or most guys just really don't know they exist. They don't even know that they're out there because the NFL doesn't necessarily promote it. You got to kind of go
They're
look.
like, it's here.
Yeah. But they say it's here, but not necessarily promote it because if you're not using it, it's money for them.
That's true.
See what I'm saying? So
That's
they
true.
get to pocket that money. So they're not really promoting it as if we want our guys to learn to get better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to kind of go get it. So for me, I started doing that probably around year 7. One thing as far as for football players, I can't even say all athletes, you're afraid of thinking about the future because you don't want it to come too fast. That sounded weird, but yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like from the standpoint of like, you don't want to start like year 2. You're not thinking about retirement because you don't want to retire next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It might throw off your focus and your drive.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's cool until the end of your career gets here, and then now you're stuck. Like you don't know what you. So for me, I've always been kind of planting seeds here and there, because a lot of times we're so focused in football, you don't even realize or know what else you like to do.
That's true. That's
You know what I'm saying? So you got to take those off seasons to try to figure what that is. And for me, like I started planting seeds with doing media stuff. I don't know if that's necessarily what I want to do the rest of my life, but I'm gonna try it out.
It's something you can do.
It's something I can do, right? So that, and then I'm into real estate, so I've been in that world for some years.
Dope.
You know what I mean? So I'm doing a wide range of different. I threw out a big net. And now I'm just trying to see what it is I like. But I was planting those seeds while I played.
That's important, though. I mean, people see LeBron, and they're like,
he's my motivator, right?
But it's like, you might not do it like him, but you can do it in your own way,
I think you can do it like him eventually.
Yeah,
You might not be able to do it now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But I think you can get to it. So I was I know Mav Carter, and I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, bro, on everything I love, bro, like what you guys are doing over there, so many athletes, like more than just them little kids in the hood, like even athletes, professional athletes are watching what y'all are doing because it's special, bro. Like what LeBron did was so cool from this standpoint. Now, obviously, he came out with $100 million off top with Nike, but what he did was dope from the standpoint of like all his homeboys. He brought them all along.
Facts.
But not only did he bring them along, his homeboys weren't just stuck like just being the homies. Like they went out and branded themselves and did their own thing.
They ran with it.
You know what I'm saying? Rich Paul, now he's one of the top agents in the NBA.
Shout out Rich Paul. Man.
Mav Carter, one of the he got Undisputed. He got all these different things, like got all these different things, ventures going on. And now, like, they can be business partners with LeBron. They ain't necessarily got to just ride his coattail. Like, nah, let's put in together to get this. You know what I'm saying? And I like I said, I told Mal, I'm like, dog, I respect it 1,000. Almost made me feel like I didn't do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? But like people are paying attention, so I respect the heck out of Mav and even like Kevin Hart and his crew. Like all those guys doing their own thing and like they're making themselves like Kevin was the leader, but everybody else is doing their own thing. They're making their own money.
And that's what it's about.
Like
bring your own people up.
They don't gotta like rely on him.
They don't
like he can retire and they'll still be
and they can still do that like that. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's not based off of what LeBron does. Not based off of what Kev does. Like they're gonna thrive even when those guys decide they want to hang it up.
That's a greater message too. We talk about that a lot on this show in terms of how you need to pay attention to what your friends, not just what you think they can do, but what they actually like to do.
For sure.
Right? Because, like, I could hit up all my homies and be like, hey, I'm trying to get this done. I see you doing this for me. I see you doing this for me to get this goal done. Or I can be like, yo, I know you do this. I know you like to do this. Let's create a space for you to do that, right?
Yes.
So
I'm with it.
Yeah.
But I also think it has to be intentional by your friends too.
Yeah.
Like the people you hang around too, right? Because some people are okay with just riding your coattail.
Yeah.
But then when things end, they looking at you like, dog, like why you retiring? My body hurts. Like, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't your back that's blown out, like that's hurting right now. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on them too. You know what I mean? They play a role in the success of them, but to realize the platform that you have and growing from it, like some of these camera guys, like I wouldn't be surprised if they working for a network. You know what I'm saying? Like just
production
company,
have
their own production company or whatever. That's dope. Like that they can foresee that too for themselves. You see what I'm saying?
For sure, man.
Yeah. So what was because obviously you went into media, you know, KJR and everything like that. So what was that transition like from being a player to now going into media?
Talking about players.
Or like,
so
you know.
So my approach is different, right? And the best advice I got was from Coach Carroll after like a couple of weeks of working on air. But so my initially, you know, get with KJR, sports talk, you know, just talking sports. But I told them off rip, like I'm not a reporter. Like I'm not the guy that's gonna go in the locker room and have a mic in front of players. Like that's not like I don't want that role. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm gonna do because most of those guys in that locker room still my homies. Like they're my friends. So now the lines get blurred. Like can we trust Cliff? Can we not? You know what I'm saying? So off rip, I'm telling you, like, nah, that ain't my play. Like that, I don't want that job. I want to be able to just talk about the game.
That's real.
Yeah.
I want to be able to talk about plays, not necessarily the players.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So once I understood that piece, that was cool. And then, like I said, talking to Coach Carroll, he just flat out told me, like, look, what is your foundation? What is your philosophy for being in the media? Because you know, when you get in, like some people will try to get you to say some off the wall stuff, talk bad about players, and that's not my play. Like I don't believe in that. I believe I can tell you my perspective, I can tell you my opinion, but I don't believe in like bashing players because I respect the grind.
You don't want to cross lines.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to cross lines, and I want my friendships are more important than this gig first and foremost, right? So I appreciate Bobby Wagner. I appreciate Sherm. So what I look like throwing them guys under the bus just to get some ratings.
It's not even your place to do that as a reporter.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Really
Exactly. Now they both know, like, hey, Bobby, you missed that tackle. You know I got to talk trash about. But it's nothing I wouldn't tell them to their face.
Facts.
See what I'm saying?
That's true.
But Coach Carroll was like, what's your philosophy? And I'm like, I'm always gonna be pro player. Like I'm always gonna be pro player. Even if it's the Seahawks versus the player, Coach, I'm for the players because that's the role I know best. I know that position, and once he respected that or whatever. But once he understood, like once he told me that, that's when I realized, like, okay, now you know what you stand on. Now you know what you stand for in this world, in this media space. Now you can execute and you can go accordingly. But if you don't have a foundation, You'll just be leaning. You'll go with it, whatever flow, and they'll have you saying all kinds of crazy mess about
lost
your
in the sauce.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta always have your foundation, your philosophy, and understanding how you want to move in whatever space.
That's important, man. And I kind of want to take things kind of out of the football space and the media space because I know you do a lot of work with your platform. To try to, uplift and just make this world a better place through your foundation, Cliff Avril Family Foundation. So talk a little bit about the work you guys have been able to do and obviously continue to do with that and how important that is for you.
Well, one, it's extremely important. I feel like anybody that's come from essentially nothing or a third world country or whatever, like you understand what the other side looks like. So I don't care how much money you make or what success or whatever success looks like for you, you can never forget that piece, right? So for me, it's extremely important to give back because I remember a story. I remember my mom. My mom worked 3 jobs my whole life until I got to the league, and she would really like break her back and get these $200 checks or whatever it was every 2 weeks, and literally send $150 back to Haiti. And I'm like, but we struggling. You know what I'm saying? Like what? But she has 3 sisters back at home, a brother, and her parents. And she was literally like breaking her back, barely making it here in the States, and sending money back to Haiti. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it all started for me. And understanding that, man, no matter what your circumstances are, it could be worse.
It could be worse.
You know what I'm saying? We might not have hot water, but they ain't got no water. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's just little things like that. So that's where the core reason or the main reason
like the why behind
I do what I do, right?
Yeah.
But as far as for the Cliff Avril Family Foundation, it's the mission is geared towards juvenile diabetes and the education system in Haiti. And the reason we went with juvenile diabetes is my grandmother, she passed from diabetes. And diabetes is extremely prevalent in the Haitian culture just due off the diet that they have. Eating a lot of rice and nobody really working out. You know what I'm saying? Like, just little things like that. So I took it a step further because I had just had my son. So I'm like, well, let's capture it early with juvenile diabetes. So I do a lot of work with JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. I've helped them raise over $250,000 over the last 4 years through just using my platform and people wanting to be on my team. And, you got to donate to be on my team and whatnot. And then we do the education system in Haiti where we just finished our first school out there in Haiti, and it houses 500 kids.
Wow.
And it's super dope because one, things we take for granted, right? I know I'm guilty of it. Rolling out of bed like, oh, Mom, I don't want to go to school today. You know what I'm saying? These kids want to go to school. They just don't have a place to go. You know what I'm saying?
That's big.
So to put it in perspective, it's like, and then you look at it from taking another step further, it's like these kids don't have electricity. They don't have any of this stuff. But yet, if you think about it, you got lights outside. You just wasting electricity. You know what I'm saying?
Street lights.
Yeah, you got street lights, and they don't have it in their homes. You know what I'm saying? So just taking it that far, so for me, and then understanding Haiti's background, y'all are African, so y'all probably understand this a little bit too. Is most people don't even realize, you got the president saying whatever he's saying about Haiti, and you got all these people. They get such a negative outlook on Haiti. Haiti was the first black republic country, meaning they were the first country to free themselves from slavery from their masters. Like the slaves freed themselves, right?
Wow.
So and what most people don't realize too with Haiti is back then Haiti was the #1 producer for sugar and cotton for the world. For the world, that small island was the #1 producer for sugar and cotton for the world. So I say that to say when they freed themselves, they messed up basically the system, the business, right?
For sure.
So everybody turned their backs on them. Till this day, everybody turned their backs on them, and that nobody really wants to fool with Haiti because basically they just messed up $1 trillion business.
Yeah, it's deeply rooted. I think we just got to know our history, man.
That's what it boils down to,
and
bro.
That's what's important because. And that's why it's important to have you on the show and other people on this show because, for what we try to do with this platform is really try to reclaim the narratives and just let people tell their stories, right, in terms of how it really happened and what it really is, you know. But that's dope, though. I love how you can reference back the roots to that.
No, I mean, everything starts there for me. You know what I mean? And I'm a proud Haitian. I don't care what anybody thinks or says about that country, that island. You know what I mean? I'm proud to be them because I kind of know my history a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what a lot of African Americans are struggling with is because they don't know their history pre-slavery. You know what I'm saying?
It's a privilege we have.
Yes.
To know where we come from.
Yes. I mean, there's pride that comes with that.
Yeah.
When you know what your people have done, when you know what the Moors and all these, when you know that stuff, you start realizing dang, I deserve to be here. I deserve, I'm special. I'm great. You know what I'm saying? But it's not there to motivate people, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's important for you to tell that story, man.
For sure.
That's big, man. Can we get a round of applause for the school being built? That's big, man. That was big. When he said that, I was like, man, this is dope. I love that, man. That's great work.
The school being built. We do a lot of stuff in Haiti, but I'm extremely excited about the school opening up here this fall. Next month, actually. So I'm excited about that, and we do, like I said, a wide range of different things. We support organizations out there. I brought some kids from Haiti to a couple football games last year or 2 years ago.
Dope.
Again, exposure is everything, man. Exposure is everything. So that's my goal in life is to try to expose kids, including mine, obviously, to what's out there in life, man, out there in the world. We get so consumed with just being in our little bubble. And I get it. People are working check to check, and sometimes you can't process it, but if you have the opportunity and you have the chance to, you got to get out there and see the world and don't believe what the media says either.
Exactly.
That's real.
Exactly. Because even when I went back home, man, it was just humbling.
We supposed to be going out there next year. Actually, me and my wife and Mike B. Actually, we're gonna hit a couple countries up in Africa and do a month and a half out there.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
I love how you document the work you do, the demonstration, because it's important, man. A lot.
For sure. You got to see it.
You got to see it, man, to make it exposable, you know.
And initially, you know what, us athletes, sometimes we feel like, oh, we don't want to show we don't want to show the work we're doing because it comes off as that's the only reason why we're doing it.
It's always he cloud chasing, is he throwing
yeah.
It's like, nah.
But then at the end of the day, too, for me, it's like, no, like I want people's support too, so I gotta let people know what's going on. Like, you know, I can do a lot, but I could do way more with more people helping me and behind me. You see what I'm saying?
You just gotta say it. You just gotta put it out there to let people decide.
Exactly, if they want to be a part of it or not. But at least you see what's it. Yeah,
that's right.
You can't consume yourself. You can't concern yourself with what the naysayers are saying. If you do, you gonna be lost.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now I actually had the opportunity to meet you for the first time at Athletic Forum's Health and Wellness.
Yeah.
Shout out Robel.
Yeah, shout out to Robel, man.
Yeah. That was such a dope event. Y'all had the panel. Y'all was talking about some things, right? And we were talking about this in terms of like now this era of athletes. I feel like it's more vulnerable than ever, right? Athletes are being able to be more vulnerable and be more open and express it, right?
Yep.
And I use
to a certain degree.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I use like DeMar DeRozan, right? When he had that battle with depression, he was like putting that out there, like that's dope to see, right?
For sure.
And at the panel, you know, you discussed the importance of mental health and how important it is for us to check ourselves and make sure we're nurturing that side of it. But for you, how important was it for you to really tap into your own mental health and making sure that was being, you know, tended to?
For sure. You know, especially us as black men, right? Black boys. That's considered being soft, right?
Yeah.
Being able to show feelings, emotions, all that's considered to be soft when everybody else is allowed to do it or whatever, right? So I'm guilty of, especially playing football, guilty of it. Like, nah, you know, you can't show emotions, you can't cry, you snap your finger out there, like, nah, you can't be mad, you can't be hurt, like, you gotta toughen it up. Like, nah, this hurts. You know what I'm saying? But I found it to be most important when I was dealing with the transition of moving out of football, right? Because if you put in perspective, what people, I mean, some people care, some people don't, whatever, but what people don't realize is mentally, and I've had this discussion with even doctors, mentally, right? I've been playing, I'm a late bloomer. I didn't start playing till 10th grade. So from 10th grade all the way to my last season, that was about 16 years of football, right? I was 31, half my life playing ball. Okay, so with that being said, every year for the last 16 years, I've been around 50 to 100 guys every single year for one common goal: to go out and win football games. We might have disagreements, we might not have the same beliefs and different things, but we all can come collectively together to go out here and ball out and try to get this win, right? That's what's good about sports in general. But you go from doing that for 16 straight years of having 50 to 100 guys around you to just you, your wife, and your kids. Like, just
at the house chilling.
Chilling. After a while, y'all gonna start working each other's nerves. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not even used to being in that space like that, right?
That's real.
So mentally, you're battling that. Like, it's hard. It's hard to you know, again, go from that type of environment to a different environment at a drop of a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, I basically broke my neck, and 6 months later, I'm out of a locker room. You know what I'm saying? When I was been in the locker room since I was 14, 15, right? Yeah. So like, there's a transition piece there that most people don't even process. It's PTSD. Same thing. People from the military area, like, it's the same exact thing. Like, you go from being in a certain environment, hostile environment at times, and boom, you're out of it. They talking about be a normal person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't doing normal person things before.
Give me some time.
Let me weed me off of this. You know what I'm saying? But so there's a mental thing that you go through there, and some guys, again, they're not really, I don't want to say they're not man enough to like expose it, but they're not willing to. The same things that make you great are the same reasons why you have a downfall when you're outside of football, right? You know, you're strong, mentally tough, don't show emotions, all these different things. Well, when you're outside of that stuff and you actually need help, you're not willing to get it because you're not there. So the best thing I did was I went and got, as soon as I got hurt, like literally probably like 2 weeks later, I started seeing a therapist. And the best decision I ever made, because one, I started realizing, like, man, yeah, football is great, but I wasn't dealing with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like it helped me. It helped me put a Band-Aid on a lot of things that was going on in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had lost my father. I went through a lot of different things, but like football, the one thing about football that helped me was like once I might practice, all that stuff is just behind me.
Yeah.
But it just I kept masking it, just kept putting a Band-Aid on it, and not never really facing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when I started seeing a therapist, like I started facing those things, and it took my mind off of football, which was great.
Yeah.
Like I needed my mind to be somewhere else, so I wasn't like in a depression or some sort for football. So when I started seeing a therapist, man, like again, that was like the best thing that happened to me. I haven't seen him in a couple weeks now. I need to holler at my guy.
Holler at him.
But like just being able to talk, and then again, right, you're an athlete, you're a professional athlete. Most people ain't trying to hear what you talking about. Like, oh, you struggling? I can't keep my lights on. You got bread. Well, I'm struggling with other things though. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't think because I do this, like I don't have issues. Like I actually might have more issues than you, to be honest with you.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So you know, just having a therapist helps you get through all that stuff, man. So I'm all about mental health and just getting your psyche right, man, because we've experienced a lot of things through history and everything else, but we've never dealt with any of it. We never faced it. So it's the same thing. Like we got to face all that stuff to get better as people.
That's real. And I think it's just expressing yourself, man. Like we even amongst our team, we make it a point, like, you know, there's a point where we kind of just like let things linger for a long time.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's what we're used to.
We're used to that. It's comfortable, right? Sometimes you got to get a little uncomfortable, right?
You have to get uncomfortable
for the long haul, right?
For sure.
But yeah, we just saw the importance of like, yo, let's just be very direct and expressive in how we communicate and get things out.
Be respectful, but get it out.
For sure. And so I'm glad you advocate for that. And I think it's a shift happening. I'm just speaking more so for the sports world because that's something that we don't really see a lot of. But I think now it's becoming more and more just accepted, I guess.
But it's also due to like the media like portraying us to not being humans.
Yeah, like Kevin Durant. You were talking about Kevin Durant earlier, how like
like people making fun of KD for having emotions. Like he's entitled to feel a certain way. Like he's a human being too, right? He puts his pants on just like the next person is, but it's like, oh, since he's an athlete, since he gets paid this amount of money, he shouldn't be complaining. Like, what?
That's facts.
What? Like he's a human being.
That's facts.
Like you're gonna like he has emotions and he's entitled to express them.
When he checks you on Twitter, you're like, oh shit. Oh.
Yeah. But then like the media takes a whole like, why is KD responding to that? Like same reason you responding to things.
Because I got Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly.
I got Wi-Fi.
I'm pro KD, man. I don't care what anybody says. Like emotions or not. I mean, sometimes it might come off as sensitive or whatever, but he got emotions. He's entitled to those emotions too.
That's facts.
I feel you.
Yeah, man, bro, we could talk for hours and hours, but
for real,
we usually like to give our guests a chance to kind of talk about some things that they got coming on the horizon.
Okay.
Things that you got coming. I know you working, you moving, like you said, you never staying still. So, what are some things people could be looking forward to?
Oh man, more on the personal side. I mean, obviously the foundation. I got my free football camp. First one I've done here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm 7 years strong back at home, but my first free football camp that I'm hosting at Renton Memorial on July 13th. For more information, go to Cliff Avril Family Foundation.org. But I'm excited about that, man, because one, now that I made this home, you know, I mean, I want to kind of put my stake in the ground and show like, hey, I'm here to help too, right?
It's important.
So we already got well over 550 kids signed up. You know, so we got that brewing. Like I said, I do a little mentoring piece that I mentor about 12 kids, and again, exposing them to different things. I got the Dining to Make a Difference dinner. That's my big fundraiser that I do every year, where I get a lot of local celebs, but Seahawks and some of the NBA players come through, and they're waiters for the evening. And
that's dope.
It's expensive though. I ain't gonna lie to you, it's expensive. But shout out to everybody that's been supporting for the last few years. It allows me to be able to build schools in Haiti and be a part of these different organizations or whatever. So, you know, shouts out to everybody that supports the Cliff Avril Family Foundation. And then on the personal side, man, I'm chopping away with the media stuff. I'm going to be doing some local stuff during the season, do some national stuff during the season as well. I'm in the process. I'm actually might be doing some international stuff during the season.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying, man? Hey, moving and shaking, man. Moving and shaking.
Limits, man.
Hey, no, don't put no limits on yourself, man. And what else we got going? And then on the personal side, again, like I said earlier, like I do real estate and different things like that. So I'm just diving deeper into that and just one understanding, get the knowledge, but also, you know, I want to bring my family along too for the ride. And that's the space where I feel like that whole LeBron and Kev, like that's the space where I know I can get my family and friends involved in growing and scaling that.
Jay-Z had in an interview, he had a line where he's like, "I'm playing for forever."
Yeah.
And I truly believe
that's
how you should
that's
be thinking.
real. No, you got to play for forever, man. That's the Jay-Z got so many quotes.
Yeah, for real.
He hit me with one line. What is it? Dog, what song is that? It might be Friends on the Carter's album or whatever. Real Friends or something like that.
Yeah.
And he says something pertaining to like if you like. Maybe it's that song. I don't remember. But anyway, say something along the lines of like, hey, if you're the only one balling in your crew, like you're not really balling.
That's the song Bosses.
Bosses. Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
He's like, like if you're the only one, like if you're the only millionaire in your crew, like you doing it wrong, bro. So when I heard that, I text my homies like, dang, I've been hustling backwards this whole time.
He said,
I've been hustling backwards the whole time, bro. My fault, yo. We got some stuff to do. We got some work to get to.
Yeah, that's real though, man.
Yeah, man.
Make sure your team is straight.
No,
Man.
for sure. But your team has to be ready for it too.
Yeah,
though.
that's
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
I agree. It's two-way street.
Yeah, it's two-way street. But that's the goal, man. Is just to keep striving forward and keep getting better as a person, man.
Yeah,
keep
man.
making a difference as a person and helping those behind you that, you know, just things ain't go their way. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, man. That's dope, man. And you know, we always ask this question to cap off the show. We ask all our guests. It kind of sums up everything we talked about and then kind of cast what's ahead. So if you can, my brother, what's one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up?
Greatness.
You
Greatness.
can explain it to a little bit if you want.
Oh, you want me to dive into it?
You can elaborate.
That was quick, though. That was a quick response on that one.
Yeah, no,
like
I
that.
just threw something out there to be honest with you. No, greatness. No, greatness, and the reason I say greatness, and greatness is everybody has their own terms of what makes them great, right? It's the same thing with success, right? It's all each person's perspective on what success is. Some people they relate that to finances. Some people relate that to the help that they give to people.
Facts.
It just depends. But for me, when I say greatness, is more so like one, obviously keeping the Avril name clean and want it to live forever. But also, I think is gauged off of my work with my kids and how their upbringing is. Like, I feel like I'm not great if my kids don't value the same things I value from the standpoint of like giving back and helping others.
That's real.
Because their upbringing is gonna be way different from mine, just as if mine was way different from my parents. You know what I'm saying? There's levels to all of that, right?
Yeah.
So greatness from that perspective is just making sure like I do right by them, because they are gonna be what defines greatness for me.
That's real.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of where it starts for me, I guess. But it's a long road ahead, it's a long journey ahead,
Yeah, man.
and we're gonna keep chopping away, keep grinding away.
Yeah.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight, man.
Nah, heck no. What would you say success was again earlier?
Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, and then greatness will come.
Yep. Exactly what that just said. I need to get successful first, and then keep. And again, success is all relative to who you're asking, and I don't think I'm there yet.
That's real, man. That's real. It's every day. It's a marathon.
It's
a
a
marathon.
you
Every
preaching.
time. Marathon
Yep.
continues.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Well, Cliff, man, we definitely want to appreciate you for coming through.
Man.
You know, sharing your story,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
sharing your experience, and hopefully we reached at least one person through this episode.
For sure. I hope so. I hope they got to get to know me a little bit better.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
man,
saying?
for
Not
sure.
reading magazines and whatnot. Actually hear it coming from me.
Yeah,
There
tune
we
in.
go.
And they could tune in at KJR in the mornings.
KJR 10 to 1 every day during the weekdays, man. I'm there all fall and the rest of this year, and then kind of figure out from there.
Perfect, man. Well, with that being said, man, I think it's safe to say Cliff Avril's officially a member of the UpNUp, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Let's get it, my guy.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you, man.